need your blood. Well, not really. My name is Carol. I went to the hospital emergency room 2 years ago with what I thought was the flu. It turned out to be cancer, leukemia. So since September of 2024, I've been trying to reach out to Robin Roberts because I feel that a celebrity awareness campaign can be far more effective than the regular person, but maybe not. I haven't been able to connect with anyone, so I'm doing this on my own with my son Jordan. And the reason I wanted Robin to do this is because she had a stem cell transplant 10 years ago. And if you watch Good Morning America, you may recall people telling Robin, happy 10th birthday, happy 10th birthday. That's because, with the stem cell transplant that was needed, the medical professionals wipe out your immune system and you get a new one. So it's like being born again. Robin was fortunate enough for her sister to be a match. So she didn't have to go through what I'm here talking about today. This is strictly an awareness campaign. The target audience are Blacks, people of African descent, biracial people with a strong African descent. We've got to get on the organ donor registry and donate stem cells. We're not doing it because we're just not aware. I know that people are, Americans will step up when things are needed, absolutely. But if we're not aware, we just don't do it. I need for this moment to become a movement, specifically for those groups, Blacks, people of African descent, biracials, people who of European descent who love people in that group, who will encourage them to get on the registry. We're losing the battle, or we're not doing as fair and as well with transplants for those groups because we're not simply just not aware. For years I have been a blood donor, and I thought I was doing my job because I know that in America we have a lot of car accidents. A lot of people die from car accidents. I was told or asked if I wanted to donate platelets, but it wasn't explained to me in a way that I could understand that platelets are important too. Since I have been diagnosed, I've had many platelet infusions as well as blood infusions. So we just have to catch up. I remember roughly 20 years ago, retired baseball player Rod Carew's daughter was diagnosed with leukemia. She didn't make it because there was no donor available. And I know that that moment did not become a movement because I haven't heard much about it since. When I think of leukemia, I think of these cute little kids on the St. Jude commercials and what is the other one, Shriners. So I don't really think of adults too much, but I've learned about it since I've been diagnosed. So it doesn't require surgery, does not require surgery, but there is a process. I'm always in awe at people who donate their kidney to total strangers. That just kind of blows me away. So if you're in a situation where you need a transplant like I do, know that it may take time. know that you're going to have people who you thought were in your corner are not necessarily in your corner, because people gossip, they're judgmental, all kinds of things occur. So it's difficult to know whether or not you want to disclose what's going on with you. Some of my friends know that I have leukemia. Some I've told that I have a compromised immune system, because you get all types of feedback, sometimes inappropriate. I recall hearing this actor, I can't think of his name, who was remorseful for judging Chadwick Boseman. They did a movie either before Black Panther or after Black Panther, and he mentioned that someone asked him what type of person Chadwick was, and he mentioned that he was a diva. I can't recall if he used the word diva, but he said that Chadwick did his job, went to his trailer, and people were fawning all over him. Stop being judgmental. You don't know what people are going through. You don't know. Yesterday, President Biden awarded Michael J. Fox, along with others, the Citizens Medal Award. I'm not saying it correctly. I don't have a script, so I'm going off the cuff. I recall when Michael J. Fox started showing symptoms of Parkinson's, there were people judging him, saying that he was exaggerating. Look at, where he is now. But the good thing is that he turned his moment into a movement, and I'm sure many, many people are being helped because of that. So I want this to be a movement, because we can do it. Like I say, Americans step up. When there's a need, we step up and do what we need to do. We may fight like the Dickens politically, but we do come together. So I've already mentioned the target audience. I've been told that the best, perhaps, donor for me is a strong, healthy Black male. So that's why my son, who I love deeply, Jordan, he has helped to turn this into a movement, because awareness means so much. I'm not wearing these glasses to be cool. My eyes are puffy. I've been in the hospital since December 30th. So I'm just going through some things. Another thing I want to mention is that, I had been a long-term blood donor. I give to the PVA, Paralyzed Veterans Association. I don't know any paralyzed vets. I started a memorial scholarship in my mom's name roughly 13, 14 years ago. And it's to go to a student who's focusing on mental health or child welfare. So I don't have humanitarian money, but I am charitable. So I just want you to know a little bit about me. And I was glad to see, I think it was Christmas Day, Robin Roberts did a short special on her nephew. She was surprised to learn that he had become a stem cell donor. So Jeremiah, I think his name is, kudos to you. Thank you so much. Well, roughly 5-6 weeks ago, I was told that there were 2 possible donors for me. One having 9 out of the 10 markers that I need. The other has 7 out of 10 markers. Well, I was told the other day that the one with the 9 out of 10 markers has dropped out. This is totally anonymous. I have no idea who the person is, where in the world they are. But I was told the one with the 7 out of 10 markers is still kind of going through the process. So I'm hoping that's true. If it's not true, I want to thank you, young men who are stepping up and telling my son that you're going to bethematch.org, bethematch.org, to request a kit to have your cheeks swabbed. And I won't know if you're the person who saves my life until after a 2-year survivorship. That's when they kind of tell you you could meet your donor. So, but I just want to thank you, because if you don't save my life, you'll save somebody else's life. It could be somebody in your own family whose life you're saving. So just real quickly, because like I said, I have to have my son edit this. I know you don't want to listen to a long speech from a stranger. In February of 2023, I asked my sister to help me to the emergency room because I had the flu and it was pretty much out of control. And I asked her to bring my brother because I didn't know if I could make it down the stairs. So went to the hospital, and then the next day, February 23rd, I was told by I believe an infectious disease doctor that I had cancer. Well, the experience was such that I recall she was an attractive woman who reminded me of Suzanne Plachette. I can't remember her name exactly, but she and Bob Newhart had a sitcom together. Today's my birthday, 1/5/25. I'm a baby boomer. So those of you who are in that age range, you'll probably remember that show. Well, anyway, Suzanne Plachette had this deep, smoky voice, really nice voice. So what I heard was Carol, or, she may have said my last name, you have wah, 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 wah. That's all I remember. And I can kind of see her maybe smoking a cigarette or something. My space was cloudy. I did eventually hear her say cancer, leukemia. And as a professional, I know that she knew that I had pretty much checked out. So later in that day, another doctor came, told me probably pretty much the same thing. She mentioned that nutrition was going to be important. I recall her saying, eggs and chicken were good proteins. And I remember thinking, good, because I'm not a vegan. So, how was this going to work? So I ended up being in the hospital 33 days for my initial treatment. I was transferred from where I was, close to home, to where I am now. Those of you who are internet sleuths, you can figure out, where I am, if that's your thing, just a little funny thing. So when I got home, one of the first bills I opened was my NICOR gas. Oh, I've already let you know what state I'm in, but opened up the gas bill, and it was between $300–400. Well, I was so sick until I wasn't thinking about changing the settings on my gas bill. Like, after all, I had the flu. I was going to be back home in a few days. So the next month, this is end of February, end of March when I went home. In April, when I came back for my round of treatment, my brother brought me. And so in Illinois, it's still cold in April. So we're driving up here, halfway here, and I started unbuttoning my jacket and taking my scarf off. And he said, "Oh, how's the temperature?" And I said, "What, you have the heat on? Hell?" So, we laugh and talk, but he didn't laugh too much on that. So he said that he didn't have feelings in his hands. So I'm like the Exorcist. Well, how are you driving? So I saw that he was driving with his left hand. With his right hand, he stuck it over in my face. I looked at it. It was swollen. The right hand was swollen. And Oh yeah, before this, I'm like, what you talking about, Willis? You know, when he said that he didn't have any feelers in his hands. And those of you, you know, who are around, you know that reference also. Um, Different strokes. What you talking about, Willis? We laugh at the corny jokes that, you know, we've heard and said for many years, or you kind of chuckle or something like that. But anyway, when he stuck his hand over, I had to go into a silent prayer and say, I'm not a medical professional, but I think you may have had a stroke. I'm like, when we get to that hospital, I want you to drop me off and then you go to the ER. Well, I knew he wasn't gonna do it. He wasn't the kind of person anyway, you know, to get himself checked out and all that kind of stuff. But he did tell me that he had a medical appointment later that day. And I said, please don't let me have to stalk you from the hospital. Please, you know, get yourself checked out. And he told me where his doctor's office was. And I asked him to go to the urgent care, which wasn't far from there. But, you know, he wasn't going to do that either. But I did hear from him like 9 o'clock that night. And he told me he was in the hospital. So I was happy about that. Only because he was getting checked out, not because he was hospitalized. So this was the month of April, and one of my side effects from chemo is I get fever typically and infection. So I didn't see him in April at all. May, when I came back for treatment, I think a family member brought me. And one of the things you'll have to learn is figuring out the resources you need to get through your treatment. So I had treatment, came back home, had to go back because I had an infection and fever. Let me just digress for a second. In April, my amazing smart oncologist that was assigned to me, she spoke to my son and told him that I had cancer. He was in college. I didn't tell him that I had cancer because when people really love you, they go through this with you, you know, and I did not want to screw up his last month of school having him worry about me. So my oncologist talked to him. Smart, intelligent, type A personality, but not so rigid until she doesn't listen. I'm getting to know my stem cell doctor. Nurses who have worked with him use the L word when they describe him. They loved him. They love him. So anyway, in May, as I stated, I had treatment, had to go back. I missed my son's graduation because I was in ICU. I hope by now his school has better infrastructure for people who can't be present for events. My brother Kenny died. I didn't get to see him. I was in the hospital, of course. I didn't remember my Facebook password. I had to create another password. I was like this, trying to figure out what to do. But I did at least see half of his service. And shout out to our old friend, E.F. Ledbetter Jr. or the third E.F., I don't remember which one you are. I know you have an amazing preacher son too, Lydia Hay. But he mentioned that if you're looking for mail today, it's gonna be late if you get it at all. Kenneth worked for the Chicago Postal Service. He loved, you know, that was his second family. So they showed up and showed out. Jordan, my son, showed me the video of the Postal Service session after they left. So, you know, thank you for showing him love. Thank you to the current president who's out there in the news talking about how they need safety because people are harming postal workers. They're stealing keys where they have to go into buildings where there are multiple units. One of the things that Kenneth and I call him Ken, some people call him Kenny, you know, whatever, Kenny Watson. I used to work in management as well as I was a union person with the state. I worked for the state for 31 years, and Kenny was always union. So we used to go back and forth about union people, and he used to go back and forth about management. But anyway, they showed up and showed out for him, so I missed his service. I also missed going on a cruise. Tom Joyner Foundation had a cruise. I was so looking forward to it. Never been on a cruise before, but I was looking forward. Okay, I was looking forward to meeting Stevie Wonder and asking if I could sing background for him on at least one song. I lived in Texas for a while, and I sang background vocals for Johnny Taylor. Great experience. So a few months later, I was told that I was in remission. That was July of last year. No, 2023, I'm sorry. So I was in remission for 6 months. So the following February, 2024, was when I was told that I relapsed. So I was told that I need, in order for me to have a decent quality of care of life, I needed a stem cell transplant. So I've been on the stem cell transplant list ever since. Obviously, I haven't had it. Was told, you know, I said this earlier, you know, about the two who come forward, and I'm very, very appreciative to that. So, bethematch.org. That's what this is about. Bethematch.org. I'm running out of breath, so I'm just gonna say one more thing. Crying and crumbling. I'm gonna say, America, America, God shed his grace on thee and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shiny sea. So Jordan graduated with a music production degree, so you can put your horn on top of that or something. Let's do this. Bethematch.org. Please go to the website. Thank you, everybody.